The movie begins by showing us a husband and wife, Felix and Christine, leaving their house and having a humorous banter about how they would pick up their daughter Bobs from school. After convincing his wife to do so, Felix kisses Christine and wishes her a good day before departing. After dropping off her daughter, Christine goes to work where she's a successful children's clothes designer. Later, Christine watches as the fashion show that she's prepared for is admired by her guests, and in the middle of the show, Christine receives devastating news that leaves her feeling rattled. Suddenly, out of nowhere, a tick-infested dog appears and approaches her, shaking itself so violently that a number of ticks are spread into Christine before vanishing. One of the ticks remains and manages to stick itself onto the nape of her neck. Christine gets up from the floor and looks around rattled but is unable to find anything. 8 months later, Christine has fallen terribly ill and she wakes up from a nightmare, struggling to breathe and has to remove the breathing device from her face. After taking her medication, Christine feeds her daughter breakfast and sends her off to school. After sending her daughter off, Christine gets ready and leaves for a meeting where she's pitching a new idea for her clothing brand. In Liz's office, Christine shows Liz all the brand new ideas that she came up with, and although Liz is supportive, she subtly tells Christine that they wouldn't be showcasing her work because they're trying to drop a new line. Upset by what she heard and feeling her illness acting up, Christine leaves the office and hurries back to her car. In her car, Christine starts shaking, and knowing that she won't be able to pick up her daughter in her condition, she calls Felix and tells him to do so. Once she felt better, Christine drives home and thinks about the condescending tone that Liz had used with her, and while she pondered the thought, Christine receives a call from Liz, who had changed her mind and was offering to use Christine's designs with a few alterations. Christine, standing in the middle of her kitchen, was happy about the news that she just received when suddenly she hears the doorbell ringing. When Christine opens the door, she meets Diana, a woman claiming that she was a caregiver that Christine had hired. The confused Christine tells Diana that she completely forgot, but Diana understands, saying that Christine was a busy woman. Christine invites Diana into her house and shows her the room that she would be staying in, and the two work together to tidy up the room and make it subtle for Diana to stay in. After they finish, Christine leaves Diana in her room to unpack. Once left alone, Diana opens up her suitcase and takes out a picture that she kept covered up and holds it close to her chest. On the floor, she sees a tick crawling toward her, and she takes out a matchbox from her suitcase and sets it on the ground, mumbling some words until the tick crawled its way into the matchbox, and she then hid the box in her suitcase. Felix and Bobs finally make it home, and Christine introduces them to their new guest. Father and daughter seem to be apprehensive about Diana, and Bob's voicing her doubt by telling Diana to call her by her full name, Roberta. After being introduced to the family, Diana offers to make dinner and gets right to work. While cleaning the house, Diana overhears Felix and Christina arguing about her through the vents. Although apprehensive, Diana continues to make dinner for the family, adding something from the small bag to the food. Diana serves the family a Filipino meal, and they find it quite delicious. Suddenly, Christine is hit by a wave of pain coming from her shoulders and calls out in pain. Felix hurries to her side and tries to get to her and take her to the bedroom, but the pain was too much, causing Christine to fall on the floor. Diana hurries to her side and tells Felix that she thinks that she can help, and Diana mumbles a few words and cures Christina's pain by hovering her hands over the painful area and then tickling her until the pain was gone. Christine is surprised and grateful for what Diana had done for her, telling her that her arm hadn't felt limber in years. Felix takes a sleepy Bobs up to her room, and then he and Christine cuddle up in front of the fire. Diana continues to tidy up after everyone was fast asleep and sees an article on the wall that featured Christine dressing a little Filipino girl. Diana sets the ash that she'd cleaned from the fireplace earlier and places it in front of her bedroom, then goes to bed. In the morning, Diana knocks on the couple's bedroom with breakfast, and although thankful for the food, Christine tells Diana that coming into their bedroom was intrusive and that they would always be having breakfast downstairs. After breakfast, Christine brings Diana along so they could drop off Bob's, and on the way, Christine is confused and can't remember the way to her daughter's school. Diana then suggests that they walk so it could help her learn the route to Bob's school better. After Diana and Christine walk Bob's to her school, Diana calls a cab and they head home. Diana offers to help Christine, explaining that she possesses some therapeutic power that could help cure her illness, and although she's skeptical, Christine agrees. At the house, Diana sets up smoke that she claimed would cleanse Christine, then continues to perform rituals that would further help her. Christine then asks Diana if everyone in her country practiced folk medicine as she did. As an answer to her question, Diana recounts the story of when she was a little girl, and one night during a rainstorm, an old woman who was very sick stopped by her house to seek shelter. This old lady was Ongo, a powerful witch-like woman, and this is a folktale that states that a person should never be alone with an Ongo or they would die. While Diana's parents left to bring some medicine for the old lady, Diana approaches the woman, and as she stood next to the Ongo, a black featherless chick would exit the woman's mouth and enter Diana's, transferring her powers to Diana, who never felt the same again. She then inherited the supernatural therapeutic powers that enabled her to heal all types of illnesses. Diana's parents were poor, so they used her newfound powers for money, and the community would come to see her for healing, but they were also afraid of her because they thought that she was a witch. After telling her story, Diana tells Christine to stand, but she is shocked to find that the shakes that she was feeling had completely stopped. Ecstatic with her newfound strength, Christine hugs Diana and thanks her for what she had done. Although Diana insists that she rests, Christine was adamant about going back to work. The next day, Christine goes up to Diana's room and gives her a paper that describes all of her symptoms, and Christine tells Diana about her encounter with the flea-infested dog on the day of her fashion show and the tick that bit her. Christine then asks Diana to help her with her illness, offering compensation for her aid. Diana agrees to help her, but asks for Christine's full trust in return instead of the money. Over the next couple of days, Diana starts conducting different types of treatments that would help Christine become healthy again. She then gathers Christine's toenail clippings and also her fallen hair strands and burns them in front of a shrine that she built in her room. The next morning, while Diana and Felix are in the kitchen making breakfast, Christine storms in and informs them that her medication were gone. Diana tells Christine that she said that she was going to throw them away, but Christine can't remember, and Diana then tells Christine that she doesn't need the medication and that she would get better without them. While Diana walks Bobs to school, Christine stays at home and works on her designs. Suddenly, she has a vivid hallucination of her workshop burning down and starts screaming, and Felix, who was just in the other room, comes in to help her and holds her in his arm until she calms down. That night, after everyone was fast asleep, Felix goes to Diana's room, hoping to talk to her. He explains to Diana that the illness that his wife was facing was all in her head, and that it all stemmed from suppressed guilt. He then tells her to stop getting into Christine's head. Diana tells Felix that if Christine's problems are in her head, that she would find them and chase them out, and she tells Felix that it would be better to talk in the morning since he seemed drunk and gently urges him to leave her room. While going down the stairs, the house pet bird flies around Felix's head, annoying him a lot. He then accidentally swats his hand and hits the bird, causing it to slam against the wall and die. The next day, Bobs buries the pretty yellow bird with Diana, who tries to console her. Bobs apologizes to Diana for being rude to her all this time, and they decide to be friends. Diana walks Bobs to school and gives her advice about the bullies in her grade, and Diana offers to teach Bob something different than what she would learn there and has her skip school for the day. Diana then takes Bob to the park and shows her how to call a crow so it would obey and come to her. Diana and Christine continue their sessions together, making Christine feel healthier than she had in a long time. Filled with new energy, she goes to the office to showcase her ideas, and after listening to Christine make her pitch, Liz and her team were wowed and agreed to go forward with her designs. While everyone was out of the house, Felix begins searching Diana's room and discovers the altar and Christine's drugs hidden under Diana's bed. Felix waits for Christine in their dining room, showcasing the drugs that he had found, and he explains to Christine what he had seen in Diana's room and where he had found her missing drugs. When Diana and Bobs return home, Felix and Christine confront Diana about the drugs that she'd stolen, and Felix thinks Diana had been slipping Christine's medication into her food so that Christine felt like Diana was helping her. And without a lack of explanation, Christine fires Diana and asks her to return her keys. Diana goes up to her room to pack and releases the tick that she captured earlier into the vents after mumbling some words into it, and Diana then goes to Bob's room and finally says her goodbyes. But Diana asks Bobs to do her a favor if she wants Diana to return and be with her forever. The next day, as Christine and Bob stand outside in the garden, Bobs asks her mom why Felix had claimed that Diana took the pills. Confused by the question, Christine tells her daughter it was because Diana stole them, and Bobs tells her mom that Diana hadn't taken them because she'd seen her mother's medication in Felix's car. Christine confronts Felix about what their daughter had said, and Felix denies the accusation. He suggests that he would sleep in Diana's old room until Christine calms down and they figure out what to do next, and on top of the stairs, Felix is again attacked by Bob's dead bird, making him lose his balance and fall. He is then rushed to the hospital and is made to stay there until his injuries heal, and in the morning, Christine takes her daughter to work where they would be shooting a commercial for the next children's clothing line that she created. While on set, Christine is hit with an unexpected wave of hallucinations that completely incapacitate her. Christine is then taken home and put to bed rest, and Diana returns to the house and is greeted by Christine's apologetic tears. As Diana stands at the bottom of the stairs, a flashback shows a horrible day that she spent back in the Philippines. One day, right before dawn, gunshots reverberate throughout their village, forcing Diana and her husband to flee with their infant child and hide in a dirty shack in the city. Years later, Diana is forced to work in cheap labor sweatshops where employees are abused and paid very little. At the time, Diana, who would bring her daughter to work, was working in one of the shops that Christine had been using. At a particular visit to the shop, Christine orders the manager to overwork the employees so they can increase production and asks them to lock the doors so employees don't steal anything. After hours of working, Diana asks the manager if she could bring some water for her daughter and leaves. And while she's gone, a spark in the faulty air condition ignites a fire and sets the shop ablaze, and although the workers get out, Diana's daughter is left scared under her working table and perishes in the fire. Outside in the aftermath of the fire, Diana uses her power to send the specter of the infested street dog to Christine and hex her with the illness. In the present, Christine lets Diana perform a ritual in hopes that she would be cured, but instead of helping her, Diana reveals that she was not curing Christine, but making her face judgment with a hex. And she makes Christine bring out the sewing kit and starts working like she did with all the poor workers. In a vision, Diana shows Christine the last moments of her daughter's death, and Christine continues to experience the sensations of the fire as her skin starts to blister and burn. Felix returns home from the hospital only to find Christine's body seated at the sewing machine. Diana goes to Bob's room to say her final goodbye, and Bobs cries saying that Diana had promised to be with her forever, and Diana tells Bobs that she would keep her promise, and she asks the little girl to go into the garden and lock up. Diana then climbs to the roof of the house and leaps to her death, and as her life slowly fades away, the power of the Ongo leaves Diana and enters Bob's, giving her the powers that Diana had. And this is how the movie wraps up. If you want to watch more creepy horror movie recaps, make sure to subscribe and leave a comment. We'll see you next time. Bye.